getting into a serious topic now.
The Iran-Israel situation. And I was thinking it's been going on for a long time, but especially this week, it's been going nuts. So before we delve into the news and what the mainstream media says, I'd just like to spend like 1 minute or 2 minutes between us,
Yeah.
like just discussing it, like the way you see it, the way I've seen it.
Right.
I kind of see both countries, Iran and Israel, a bit like pretty extreme, with extreme leaders, like kind of like megalomaniacs in a way. Kind of self-centered, like they don't want to give up power. They're all like political about their countries, but they don't give a shit about the average person, I think, because their policies or their actions would lead to their citizens being killed. So from what I understood is that Israel, well, or Netanyahu rather, is claiming that Iran is building or manufacturing nuclear weapons, be it outside, be it in underground bunkers. And Netanyahu has been saying this for a long time, maybe like 20 years or something, like they're manufacturing nuclear bombs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like in 2 weeks, they're going to get a bomb ready. And he's been saying that for many, many years. But when was it, Thursday or Friday?
He brought this thing to the UN, which was like, is the shape of a bomb. And he was like saying, this is, it was a big meme. I don't know if you recall that.
God. No, I don't actually.
Ago. I have to look it up. Carry on. Sorry, I'll look it up.
And so it's a bit like warmongering. Now, if Iran actually has nuclear bomb capabilities, it's quite a concern. But tell you what, Israel, like even the states have like nuclear bombs. Like people aren't really accusing them of it, to be honest. Like they have like a massive nuclear arsenal. And it's okay to like point fingers, but you're not like asking yourself the right question. Like, you're not going to detonate a nuclear bomb, but you're telling the other one, I can build them, but you can't.
There you go. This was a long time ago. You don't remember this?
No. To be honest, I haven't seen that. It's okay. We saw it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So from what I understand is that last Thursday, Friday, Israel conducted a huge military operation whereby they sent lots of jets. I'm talking like in the hundreds to Iran. They bombed lots of like key sites, apparently. And now Israel, in retaliation, Iran threw like rockets and missiles to Israel, which is pretty far away, by the way. And they hit places like Tel Aviv and stuff. Now, in Tel Aviv, the Israelis, as far as I know, they all were kind of ready for this and hid in their own bunkers. I'm guessing there's like a bunker every 2 buildings away. So they're like fending for their lives as well, like women and children and men and stuff. And so it's kind of insanity. And like Trump was even saying that they're thinking like the States is thinking of doing the same thing that Israel has, like the Iron Dome, some invisible force field that you see in like some 80s cartoons.
Oh, like Trump's golden, yeah.
Yeah, but the rockets and stuff, as far as we know, some actually went through this force field. And let me like show that as well.
It's a missile defense shield, I think. That's the term, I think, that they give it. I'm not sure.
But like some, I'm not sure if all went through, but like...
Yeah.
I mean, check this out. Wow. This is across Israel, by the way.
Wow.
They were intercepted, though, with the aid of American assistance, believe it or not.
Yeah, you see some blowing up in the sky as well.
I mean, this is crazy. I have a few things I will mention too after.
Yeah. And what's insane is that, as far as I know, Israel, like Netanyahu, he has the help. he's pretty
Support,
much
maybe.
he has the support of, let's say, Trump and the states. When I say the states, not the people, the government. And so he's asked from the states for extra aid specifically for B-2 bombers, so that they can bring them in, so they can detonate like key sites, like what's it called? Hang on, I have it here.
No problem. Let me know so I can give you my take after on all this. Yeah. What was interesting is how we kind of predicted this in a way in our last stream.
What I want to say is that Israel is claiming that Iran is not only building, let's say, nuclear weapons of mass destruction outside, like on the ground, but also like they have underground like factories manufacturing these nukes, and so they need the help of the states to fly over these like B-2 bombers to basically detonate these massive bombs that are going to go, let's say, 12, like the height of 12 floor buildings, but within, like underneath the surface of the earth to make sure they're all blown up. And have they ever thought that what would happen if you bomb a nuclear weapon? Isn't that thing going to blow? Or the repercussions of it?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to create, you could probably like seismic. There would be seismic consequences because in reality, because it's like you would, destabilize. God knows what it would do under the earth. But
and on the other hand, like Trump is asking Iran to like sign this nuclear waiver or something to say that they're not building nuclear capabilities, or people to go in and check if they have them or not. But Iran's leader is saying we're not doing that. It's tricky.
My view on this is just that as we were talking about like how the Ukrainian drones hit a nuclear site in Russia, I said that was going to lead to a bad precedent in the future. That was going to be the sort of that's going to open a can of worms, and it clearly did, because now it shows the case where Israel felt, it was okay to just launch a full-on attack on a sovereign nation, which is Iran, regardless of the regime, and their preemptive, as they call it, strike was on nuclear sites, and it was also against nuclear scientists and things like this. One thing I have to say that I got very annoyed about with the media recently is that now Iran also retaliated, and there were like 1 or 2 deaths and injuries, obviously in Israel. But one thing I got very annoyed at, it was the over exposure of Israel's attack. Overexposure of Iran's attack on Israel. The damaged buildings and this, but. Hold on, Israel threw the first stone in this case, and up to 100 people died, civilians, not targets, because they presented this at first, and I've talked to some people who think that these were very strategic, precise, targeted. No, up to 100 people were reported by different sources, and that's an estimate, right? Up to, it was like 78 and then 90. But civilians died, women and children. And the damage was even worse. But there's no coverage of that, because obviously Iran has to be a monolith. So everyone, including the people, have to be represented as just evil. The evil regime of the Ayatollah, which is absolutely ridiculous, because the citizens do not represent the regime, just as the Israeli citizens don't represent Netanyahu's regime. There's a lot of Israelis who are right now in protest and criticizing it, only with what's going on in West Bank and Gaza, but it's also with this as well. So this is just for the sake of escalation. I saw a bit of the interview, which we should play here as well, of Netanyahu. And I'm sorry, but the man sounds like a total sociopath. He sounds like a total sociopath with zero regard of human life, and he actually says it. He says it. You're gonna hear it here first. He literally he actually speaks in this manner. It's shocking. And the thing is, it's like you know, you can also be against the Ayatollah and the Iranian regime and claim that it's totalitarian, which it is. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not right, but that doesn't also make the Israeli regime, in this case Netanyahu, the current one, right, also right. Okay, so go ahead, play it. This shocked me.
Let me start with the news that has just come in. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran has been urgently signaling that it wants to end hostilities and to resume talks over its nuclear program. According to the journal, they have been sending messages to Israel and the United States via Arab intermediaries. Have you received that message from the Iranians?
It is.
Well, not directly, but I'm not surprised. I mean, they want to continue to have these fake talks in which they lie, they cheat, they string the U.S. along, and you know, we have very solid intel on that. But of course, they want to keep on building their nuclear weapons and building their mass ballistic missile arsenal, which they're firing at our people. They want to continue to create the two.
Now they're firing. That was retaliation, wasn't it? After
existential threats retaliation were drones. While they're talking, that's not going to happen. You know, we're not at the 11th hour. We're at the 12th hour, and we stopped. We acted to secure the life of the nation.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, but this man is a total sociopath. He's got a smirk on his face.
Lost it. He's got a
smirk on his face.
Yeah, you can see that he's kind of smiling.
He doesn't care. He literally does not care for human life.
About his own people, because they are the ones at risk. He's fine. He's like gonna hide in his
like he could care less about the Israeli people or the Iranian people. He doesn't care. He's just like, let's escalate this shit. Let's escalate. Let's look, it doesn't matter if you think they're fake talks, but talking is talking. It's better than fighting.
It is.
There's never a legitimacy for violence, in my opinion. And in this case, this is absolutely irresponsible of him to make. And then he says they're stringing the U.S. along. Hey, Americans, listen here. Netanyahu thinks that you're pushovers for the Iranian regime. Next time you think, that's what he thinks about the American government, by the way. And they're just pushovers. What does that say? I have a lot to say about that too, because this comes down to Trump right now. And anyway, carry on. Let's listen more.
They were kind of in a period of like doing talks when they bombed Iran.
Yeah,
which is fucking
but it was a preemptive strike, so it's okay. Any other nation that would do this, any other country that would do this, one comes to mind. But any other country that does this would be highly condemned by all the world.
And you know what they're gonna call you, right? They're gonna call you anti-Set. I don't want to say the word in case
anti-Semitic. Right. Yeah, but I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, if you're gonna resort to that,
that's like
if you're gonna resort to that, if you're gonna have to resort to that by saying I'm anti-Semitic because
use those words.
I'm anti-Semitic because I'm pointing out the fact that the Israeli leader Netanyahu is a complete sociopath.
He's like a warmonger, and he's lost it, and he's sending his own people
who doesn't even care about his own people. I'm anti-Semitic because I care more about the Israeli people than he does, clearly, because I don't want to see Israeli people die, and I don't want to see Iranian people die. So apologies. By the way, I'm not anti-Semitic or anti-Islamic, because I don't want to see nobody die. It's that simple.
Exactly.
But some people want that to happen, clearly, like this lunatic.
Like, he's the one who's blocking aid, like going into Gaza. He's the one.
I don't know what is like.
Gaza thing still hasn't finished. Like,
I don't.
He's already like starting stuff on.
Well, that's the other problem. They already have enough flack because of what's going on in Gaza and in West Bank. You'd think you'd be smart enough not to escalate that and start new conflicts.
Fronts all at once.
Yes, like this is absolute lunacy. I don't know why. And this whole thing about they threaten us. Okay, granted, the leadership of Iran has said some wild and crazy things, really wild and crazy things. Don't get me wrong. They are right, but you know what? You've got an intelligence service, and you've got a lot of other elements there. Specifically, Israel does to safeguard yourself. I mean, come on. Does it really bear
They
an
have
excuse?
the intel of the states and stuff. Well, he's claiming that the intel is saying that they've got a bomb, like ready in like 2 weeks and stuff. But
well,
he's
that's
been claiming
interesting
that for
because
20 years now.
that's very interesting because apparently someone disagrees with him, which is the director of national intelligence, which is in Trump's administration, Tulsi Gabbard, who actually is very anti-nuclear war. And she used to be a Democrat. She then ran as an independent. And then she believed in Trump in this presidency. And she ran and campaigned with him because she believed in transparency and also in de-escalation and no more new wars. And we have some videos that I want to put out because in March of this year, she said that Iran is not believed to be building nuclear weapons. Now, why would she say that? She has access to all the intelligence.
By the way.
She has. This is from Newsweek, and she has the access to all intelligence. She's the director of national intelligence.
If anyone knows, it's her.
Right.
Like,
and this was in March, right before everything started. Like,
let me play it. Yeah.
Her operations and capabilities also present a serious threat to U.S. networks and data. The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program. In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
There you go.
President Trump has said previously.
Anyway.
Well, what's interesting is she said that, and then I think Trump's reaction, we had the video, but that was on I think it was on our Discord. If you can find that.
Give me a sec.
So, by the way, the IC that she's referring to is the U.S. intelligence community, which is obviously comprising of the CIA, the NSA, the DIA, all of these things. Okay, so just in case people weren't familiar with that abbreviation. So on the Discord, if you go to, I think here in our news tips, one of our members posted this video.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it, because it was,
where it was, if you can show that video, because it shows Trump's reaction to this. Because the thing is, I got a lot to say about Trump. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But basically,
I'm going to share it now.
Cool. Because basically, it's a repeat of what she just said, right? And she also posted on social media this like anti-nuclear arsenal armament video. No, this wasn't it. Hold on. Yeah, I have to find it for you. Hold on. Here, it's this. I have to. I'll forward it to you. Yeah, there you go.
Is it the one on X?
No, it's on Discord. It's on Discord because it was an uploaded video.
Oh, yeah,
that one. So I
remember that.
Yeah, that's the video. Because in that video you have Trump's reaction. I mean, I just forwarded it to you on DMs.
Give me a sec.
No problem. But yeah, she's basically been an advocate against nuclear war. And, you know, she's been painted as being a Russian agent or propagandist because basically she's saying that, you know, why we shouldn't escalate things. And, you know, especially with great powers who have nuclear abilities. This is previously, and she posted something on social media too. And I mean, I can do it myself. I can share it as well if you want.
Yeah, if you can, because
it's
I can't share my Discord because everybody's going to see my contacts and everything.
Yeah, that's the only problem. It doesn't matter.
I can't download it, but yeah.
Wait, you just have to put full screen, and here we go. All right, there we go. I have to put the volume up, I guess.
Yep.
Here we go.
Go for it.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program.
Wait, this wasn't it. Okay, now I'm confused.
Yeah, because
there was Trump's
reacting.
Trump's reaction. Hold on. Oh God! Wait. Hold on.
Let me get it. Let me find it. I'll find it. Okay.
West posted it. That's the thing.
Hang on a sec. I think I've got it.
Basically, he was on a plane or something.
It's brand new. Yeah. Check it out.
This one, yeah. There you go. Yeah. So I sense it. Okay, but we don't actually hear it. Is he actually talking this or what? No, this is just one of these wacky videos. No. It doesn't give you the actual. No, wait, hold on. Let me find it again. It's so annoying. Hold
what was
on.
it? Here as well.
Try this one, yeah.
Of a Republican administration that attacked a Middle East country on the idea of questionable intelligence of weapons of mass destruction. How is this moment different with Iran?
Well, there were no weapons of mass destruction. I never thought there were. And that was somewhat pre-nuclear. You know, there was a nuclear age, but nothing like it is today. And it looked like I'm right about the material that they've gathered already. It's a tremendous amount of material. And I think within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen. I was very much opposed to Iraq. I said it loud and clear, but I was a civilian, but I guess I got a lot of publicity. But I was very much opposed to the Iraq war. And I actually did say, don't go in, don't go in, don't go in. But I said, if you're going to go in, keep the oil. But they didn't do that.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
I'm
Director
sorry.
of National
No.
Intelligence.
Well,
Where's he getting his intelligence from then?
Who in the intelligence community said that?
That
Again,
they are at this point.
This is literally the flip of Bush.
Who in the intelligence
Bush Jr.
community said that?
Where they're like
Director
saying
of
weapons of mass
National
destruction,
Tulsi Gabbard.
you know, and everybody's saying what, and then they go in. It's literally the reverse. Now they're saying like there's nothing there, and it was just like, yeah, there is something there. Who told you? Let me guess. Was it Bibi on the phone? Bibi Netanyahu? He told you like, no, there's stuff there. Oh, who told you? Oh, it's our, you know, it's our incentive to go. Sorry to say this. A little known fact, by the way, Israel was actually, when I say Israel, obviously I mean the state. Israel was actually one of the biggest proponents for pushing the U.S. to invade Iraq. By the way, back in the time of Saddam Hussein, where they displaced Saddam Hussein and they went on that whole narrative of weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Israel was one of the major proponents pushing United States on that intelligence as well. So no surprises where Trump's getting his intelligence in this case. And his intelligence is, so right now, a lot of people are falling out with Trump. Some of the biggest people who have campaigned with him and helped him reach the presidency. We already had the Elon Musk bromance collapse. Trump is even hitting back against Tucker Carlson, who's known as a conservative media pundit, who's very critical about this whole attack on Iran. So Trump's firing back against him too, and he was also pivotal in Trump's campaign. And I'm really expecting either Tulsi is going to, who was also pivotal too. She was campaigning hard with him.
And in fact, she went to Hiroshima recently.
She's either going to get fired or there's something going to happen. I don't know what's going on with Trump. He's lost the plot, like literally lost the plot.
Like initially, it seemed like he was thinking about like helping Israel or not, but like now he's done like a.
Yeah, because this is what
decided. It seems
this is what I want to unpack with Trump. If you know that section we have, I would love to go into that. But yeah, let's see this because this is important, I feel, about Tulsi Gabbard so people understand.
They were kind of accusing her, I think it was. Let me just play it.
They're accusing her of Russian propaganda again. Like, it's not playing.
Sharing. Give me a
You're
sec.
sharing already.
Should I play it? Should I play this one?
Yeah.
Is the reality of what's at
you have to
stake,
start
what
from the
we are
beginning, though.
facing now. Because as we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before,
You're at the end already.
political elite and
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is just her like visiting Hiroshima recently.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So she's just saying that it's a big risk, like dealing with like stuff with nukes and stuff. But she said that they haven't got nukes, you know.
Right.
So,
And if people don't remember, I think it was Tucker Carlson on Joe Rogan last year, and he was highly critical of the American nuclear bombs dropping on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And a lot of conservatives were like Ben Shapiro particularly was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He was like, he was freaking out. Like, that's the reason that the war ended. Well, newsflash, the war didn't end because of the United States dropping 2 nuclear bombs. I mean, it helped bring awareness of like how crazy everything got to. But
I mean, Shapiro
actually,
is like an Israeli fanatic in a way, but he lives in the States, so he's okay.
But the thing is, he was criticized heavily by a lot of conservatives and right-wing people because they were saying like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? If we had never dropped those bombs, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But the thing is, Tucker Carlson's also kind of a humanitarian. Believe it or not, I know there's going to be people on the left who don't like him, but believe it or not, he is a humanitarian. He doesn't want to see people die. He doesn't want people to suffer. He's mentioned that a number of times. In fact, he's even said there's some socialistic policies that he could actually bank on.
He used to
he's
work
just not
for like Fox News, right?
And previous to that, he was on CNN. But the point here, the real divide isn't. Wait, let's read that out so people can see. The real divide isn't between people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence, I totally agree, and those who seek to prevent it. Between warmongers and peacemakers. Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone who's calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. military involvement in a war with Iran. On that list, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch, obviously owner of Fox Media. He's not Fox. Sorry, no, he is. Yeah, is it Sky? Sky News and Sean Hannity, who's obviously one of the biggest commentators and on Fox News. Mark Levin is on Fox News now. I think he has a show, but he's a big, strong, staunch, traditional conservative.
In 23, Murdoch stepped down from Fox
Corporation, right? Yeah, because they sold News Corp or something, I think, over to yeah. But he doesn't own Sky News as well. I think he might own Sky News as well.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think.
He owns
anyway, Rupert Murdoch has a long history with. By the way, he has a long history with Trump too. We're going back into the late 80s, like definitely. But the point is, I wholeheartedly agree with what Tucker Carlson is saying here. You might not like Tucker Carlson's like conservative values and stuff, but you know what? I call it what it is. If someone says something right, I don't care where they're from, like or what they are. But he's calling it out, and he's been highly critical about this, and so am I. I believe I am so as well because I don't agree at all. I think this is disgraceful. Like I mentioned, the sort of wanton disregard of Iranian lives. Don't get me wrong. I also feel it's terrible that 2 Israelis died, but we're talking about up to 100 Iranians that died, and that gets hardly any, they don't talk about that as much as like how horrible that is. And this is Stephen Bannon. Stephen Bannon, obviously he was also owner of Breitbart. He was a significant advisor at one point for Trump in the first presidency. He's been accused as being like a proponent of the alt-right, which is this like say what you will of the alt-right, but the point is he's been very critical, mostly about the lobbyism between the United States and Israel, and that's I think why he's been labeled as such. Ben Shapiro doesn't like him, and there's all these fractures within the right, but anyway, but he's kind of like, play this. It's intriguing. I actually
really love Trump. I think he's a deeply humane, kind person, And I am saying this because
it doesn't go higher.
I'm afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire. Obviously, other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it. And so that's why I'm saying this.
What do you mean by that? That's coming from you. That's
look. I knew Bush. I knew George W. Bush. We had, family connections to Bush. I knew Bush personally. I still see Bush sometimes, and of course he hates me.
He knows a lot of people.
And
he hates him
because I criticized him on Iraq, and that war is the sum total. From a historical perspective of his administration. But I knew him, and he had all kinds of plans for the things that he wanted to do. But once domestically
right.
to improve the country.
Right.
And you may agree or disagree, but in his mind, he wasn't just
what they all say.
about the invasion.
Yeah.
So he brings up something of relevance. It's the end of the American empire. Newsflash, it's already the end of the American empire. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. The end of the American empire died already with the previous election. 2022. Actually, COVID also contributed to that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
As for Trump's presidency, this is what we can highlight now if we show this. Trump has postured himself as wanting to have a legacy as being the president of a peacemaker. Trump has highly criticized in the past, during the campaign and previously, that under Biden and Kamala Harris, the world was blowing up. And it was virtually, right?
Yeah.
He also criticized that under Kamala Harris, now that's disregarding her because she's another kettle of fish, but I don't care. We're going by Trump.
Can of worms.
We would go into World War III. Well, Mr. President, you ain't doing a good
for
job.
the armed forces, and that he wouldn't start any other wars.
And I liked him at least to that extent because it was true under his first term, no new wars. He tried to bring some stability, But I'm sorry to say, what's going on right now is potentially 10 times worse than I've seen in the last couple of decades under the last few presidents.
I want to say
Whatever
something.
He's doing wrong. And we've got major escalation between Ukraine and Russia. And now we've got another major escalation. And by the way, guess what's looming on the horizon? Which we don't have enough to report it on, but what's looming on the horizon will be China and Taiwan very soon. And what is President Trump doing? He's so passive. He's just.
At least he brought micro. At least he brought the silicone manufacturing company to make them in the States. Because
that's what Biden did with the chips. That's what they say. Yeah, but that's what they did. That's what they say about Biden. Oh, at least he brought chips over and trade.
He's bringing the chips. President Trump, casino says, bring the chips home.
President Trump is doing a disgraceful job. Absolutely. You are supposed to be the supposed leader of the free world, right? The United States of America, everyone looks up to. Well, let me tell you something, another thing, right? And we have got some clips because I wanted to support this with justification here so people know that I'm not just talking out of my ass. Because here's the thing, right? President Trump kept on saying how he was going to resolve it in 24 hours. He was going to sort this out. He was going to go in there. This and this and this and this. And nothing has happened. If anything, he's only inflamed things further. He hasn't helped it. And you know how he used to claim that under Obama and under nobody respects Obama, nobody respects Biden and stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump, I hate to break it to you. The world leaders don't respect you. That's the reality. Because right now, you ain't doing shit. You don't listen to your director of national intelligence. You don't make any significant moves. Nobody knows what's going on. You're having a breakup with a guy who wasn't even in your administration, Elon Musk, which becomes headline news. What the heck is going on?
Initially,
this is a joke.
They had some sort of partnership, and then it kind of breaks up.
I don't know what's so problematic of just simply saying, you know what, Mr. Netanyahu, stop what you're doing. Stop right now.
We're not giving you any help. because you started.
No, it's not just not giving any help. Just stop what you're doing. It's not right. People, enough. No people should die. Hey, you know what we should do? If Iran wants to talk, let's go talk to Iran. Let's bring everybody onto the table. Everybody. Let's bring the Saudis. Let's bring the Israelis. Let's bring the Russians. Let's bring the Chinese. Let's bring them all onto the table.
A huge group and see what they have to say afterwards.
Why don't we do that? I don't see. Where is this so-called peace? No, what is it? Strength. What is it? Peace through strength. I see none of this right now. Right now, I'm sorry, but the United States of America is a laughingstock, and they're like in this hyper bubble. Those there who think like, oh no, this is the no. It's bad. It's bad, and they're not even cognizant of this. And
it is terrible.
And President Trump is basically a heel. He's not. He's doing nothing. He's literally doing nothing.
Yeah.
He's like flip-flopping. Firstly, distancing from the attacks on Iran, but saying, "Oh, that was good," and then saying that he will support, and then now threatening Iran as well that he's gonna blow them. Like oh, it's gonna be even worse, or like what the heck is going on here? What are we doing, folks? One of the worst
things is that he spoke to Netanyahu like earlier in the week or last weekend, and the outcome of it was him telling Tehran to evacuate the whole city.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think that sounds like? It sounds like they're gonna drop a fucking bomb.
A nuke. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, am I paranoid when if he says evacuate the city? What does that mean?
That's it. This is madness.
What does that mean?
This is the capital of Iran. Like you're gonna
for another country evacuate your city.
Yeah.
Are you fucking insane?
Yeah. It's nuts.
Mad? Are you mad? Like
no, this is madness.
Not just what goes on in that country, but like the repercussions of this globally.
Yeah.
Like you're not just putting your own country at war or something or at risk. You're putting everyone at risk. I'm sorry, you do not want World War III.
Let it out. No, because this is the problem. By doing nothing and by not actually being the representative he should be in these instances and making the hard choices, which sometimes you have to do by actually calling out someone who's supposed to be an ally, but saying like, no, this is not right. Like he knew about the strike before it happened. Like what in his mind said that was a good idea? This is madness. And
like
the thing is,
all countries in the world, like if they rank all the countries like on the internet on different websites, they put the states like by far as the military force. And the thing is though, is that like after 9/11 with Bush, they had like the grand tour of the Middle East. They had Afghanistan, they had Iraq, they had Iran. Now, a lot of this was uncalled for, and they spent loads of money in the Middle East, like for oil and for different interests. So they put a lot of like military in the Middle East,
a lot of bases,
which was probably uncalled for. But now we have Trump, and sure, he got voted in for not doing anything. But the thing right now he has to do something.
That is exclusively why he was voted in. He was voted in even by liberals because he was supposed to be the peacekeeping president. He was supposed to be the president. This is exactly like the irony of the EU right now.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
fix the slide.
Trump was supposed to be starting no new wars. I mean, he hasn't technically started any new wars, but that's the problem. Indirectly, he's not
sort it out before it gets too late, before this thing escalates, because who knows what's going to happen. Israel has nukes. Newsflash.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we've already seen that they are not like now, like I said, the precedent has been set because Zelensky, Ukraine set that precedent that, you know, all cards off the table now. All cards on the table. It's, you know, it's anybody's guess. Anybody can do anything now. There's no rules of engagement. It's just whatever. You know, ironically enough, just the similar situation of like how Ukraine spent a whole year of, you know, surreptitiously infiltrating, you know, like with a Trojan horse into those Russian sites. Well, the Mossad and Israel, sorry, not Israel, the Mossad and the IDF were doing exactly the same thing. You know, these strikes, they didn't just happen randomly. This was like, you know, planned way long ahead of time. And so, you know, a lot of his base are getting annoyed. In fact, a lot of his base don't agree. That's been reported by Sky News Australia, which also tends to be conservative, but they're not happy. And, you know, this whole thing of war with Iran has been kind of like an issue on everybody's mind since Iraq, because people always said there was always that thing, which is like, Iran is next. They want to go after Iran. The war hawks, the neocons, the neolibs. They want to go after Iran. That's the big one, the big part of the
always has to be an enemy. They always have to like deal with some conflict in the world.
And you know, for the longest time, and now we're headed in this direction. And I'm telling you, look, to the world leaders out there, nobody's gonna. They don't watch this or anything like this. But to the world leaders out there, you all need to shut the fuck up and sit down. You're a bunch of children running around, and your people just want this shit to end. By the way, I'm talking on behalf of Russians, Israelis, Ukrainians, Palestinians, and Iranians, and whoever else is in a conflict right now. They don't want bloodshed. People are fed up. There's a lot more important things that they care about than having to see other people die and other people suffer on behalf of stupid reasons, okay? So maybe everybody needs to just chill out. I don't know.
For real.
I don't know, but there's nobody's actually, you know, nobody's bringing this up. It's and people are getting fed up too, because this is just annoying at this point. Like, we're all sick of it. It's like, what are we going to gain from this? Nobody's gaining from this. Oh, well, except for obviously the military-industrial complex.
That's for sure. So over here we have
you want to read?
Bernie Sanders. So he says, Netanyahu started this war by attacking Iran. He assassinated Ali Shamkhani, Iran's lead nuclear negotiator. He assassinates the negotiator, deliberately sabotaging US-Iran nuclear negotiations. The US must not be dragged into another illegal Netanyahu war, either militarily or financially.
So this is what I mentioned, that they were, I think Netanyahu was in power at that time too. It was like he was a proponent of, obviously, you know, going into Iraq. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's what Bernie Sanders is referencing. Mind you, Bernie Sanders, who's been labeled a socialist, because he kind of is, but he's more of a social democrat. He's on the left. So, you know, you got Tucker Carlson and Bernie Sanders on two sides, agreeing on the same thing and saying stuff which we both agree with here. So it's nothing to do with political alignment here, folks. It's just the reality. It's just the fact of speaking truth to power.
Yeah.
Ron Paul, who's on another point of the aisle, he's a libertarian. He's always been a libertarian. He ran for president as well.
Yeah.
And he says here, just hours before a massive Ukrainian operation targeting Russian strategic bombers deep inside Russia, which is what we highlighted in our last stream, Senator Lindsey Graham and his colleague, Senator Richard Blumenthal, were in Kiev, again, urging Ukraine to keep fighting, because more than half of the Ukrainian population, as polled, right, wanted to end. As President Trump has reportedly stated that his policy is to end that war, why is a U.S. senator undermining official U.S. foreign policy? And how involved was he and other neocons in the administration? So here's an interesting thing. Ron Paul, at first, like a lot of independents, there's the independent journalist, investigator, Whitney Webb as well. They all kind of were in support of Trump in the early days of the campaign and stuff, because he was running on the ticket of like, well, we got to end these wars. We can't have the world blowing up everywhere and la 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 la.
It was like a big economical issue as well, like financially, and why do it anyway?
And Ron Paul was kind of also on his side. But then when they started seeing like who was being put into the administration and all these connections, not only Ron Paul was like raising the alarm, and he had been in the very beginning, like he was tweeting this out, and even on his show he was bringing this up. Whitney Webb was also exposing the fact of this as well. which goes into a bigger ordeal here, because we're not only talking about the military-industrial complex, but also there's deeper elements to all of these things, believe it or not. And this isn't like you need the tinfoil hat or anything, but you start noticing how there's a lot of ties to things from Palantir, BlackRock, Vanguard, you know, and how that plays into all of these lobbyism for armaments, for pharmaceuticals, media, etc.